Part two of our project is to start looking at mortgages. Mortgages, like student loans, are something that many people have, but not many people understand. A lot of people get suckered into a mortgage thinking that, oh, they got the good deal, only to find out they're paying for the next 30 years, and when it's all said and done, they will have paid the bank more than the house is worth, considerably more. In 2008, many people found that they were underwater. In other words, they owed more than their house was worth. This is not a situation you want to be in, and it led to a lot of people losing their homes when loans got called. So a mortgage, just like a student loan, is the kind of thing that you want to go into with as much information as you can. So that's part two of the Algebra 2 project for this section. We want to take a look at mortgages. So I want you to find a house that you're interested in. You decide you're going to buy a house, and we're going to be pretty generous here. Your first house is not going to be $400,000. But we do want you to at least go out and find a home that has some of the things you like. Do not go find a multi-million-dollar mansion. I'm sorry, it's not realistic. But go find a house. If you want to look at starter homes, you're probably looking 150 to 200. If you want to look at maybe your second home after you're married, have some kids, been in your job for a while, then maybe you're looking at that $300,000 price range. Keep in mind, the more expensive the home, the higher the payments are going to be, so on and so forth. So, you might even want to look at what kind of careers you're at, what kind of salaries you're going to be earning with those careers, and take that into account. The more realistic the house you pick, the more real this whole situation can be for your life and your lifestyle. So if you've never looked up houses, there are a few places to do it. Realtor.com, Zillow.com, Redfin, these are all really common ones. I actually went and just found my old house. There it is, beautiful. If a house is currently off the market, you'll see an estimate value. If the house is on the market, what I have highlighted in yellow here, it won't say last sold. What it'll actually say is current price or sale price. So what you want to use, if possible, is this value, if they give you a value for sale. However, if you're looking at houses that aren't for sale, or if you think, well, maybe I'll buy my parents' house, then you might be looking at the Redfin estimate or Zillow estimate. Let me know, just raise a hand, let me know if you're having trouble with any of these websites. But go ahead, find yourself the kind of home that you expect to be in, and again, leave the mansions alone. So the price of the home, at least when I bought it, was $155, and my location is DeKalb. Do not feel that you need to look in DeKalb. If you know you're getting out of here, pick a home somewhere else. I am not going to say anybody needs to stay in DeKalb. All right. For the next part of this, the instructions are in front of you, but I want you to go and actually find a real mortgage rate. The website is bankrate.com, and on the packet, it's all the instructions you need to get to the screen I'm on right now. The key things is that you need to put in the purchase price of your home, a 20% down payment, and then you want to select 15-year mortgage. We're also going to look at 30. So this was the interest rate I found on the day I looked this up. Your interest rate will be different. Do not put 3.618 on your paper. You will find a different interest rate and a different bank. They change hourly. But what I found when I looked this up was 3.618 for a 15-year. And then for my 30-year mortgage, 4.193. Usually a 30-year mortgage will have a higher interest rate than a 15. Unless something crazy happens between now and when you look these up, that's what you can expect. So again, the instructions for how to use that website, they are in the packet. If you're getting stuck, let me know. I'm happy to help you go through the website and take a look at that. So just to recap, my 15-year was 3.168%, and my 30-year was 4.193%. You have answer blanks in your packet for those two numbers, and yours will be different. So when you purchase a home, Generally, you need some kind of down payment. I was fortunate enough to be in the military, so my down payment was considerably smaller. But if you don't have any special circumstances, 20% is the down payment that you usually want to put down. 20% is enough that your loan is going to be a little bit cheaper. You won't have to pay what's called PMI, mortgage insurance. There are other programs that let you pay less than 20. For the sake of this project, let's assume you're doing it the normal way and you're going to do a 20% down payment. So the price of your home is what you're going to get off Zillow or Redfin, depending on where the house is. Mine was $155,000. To get 20% of that, you're going to multiply by 0.20. So 20% of my home was $31,000. That's how much you would have to put down before they even let you take out the loan. So my principal is going to be the difference of those two things. $155,000 minus $31,000. That's how much I need to actually borrow from the bank. And that's $124,000. If you remember the student loan math we did earlier, 124 is a big loan. If you're looking at more expensive houses, it's going to be even bigger loans. So for those of you who are looking at like that $350,000 McMansion, expect some big payments. 124 was good enough for me. Already looked at this. All right. So one thing I need everybody to do, I forgot the T in the formula. It is the same formula as student loans. I should have just used copy paste. Whoops. So please remember to add that T there. So there should be a 12T in the exponent. All right. So notice it is the same formula as the student loan math. And if you wanted to look at car loans, it would be the same formula there as well. Anytime you take out a regular fixed rate loan, this is the this is the monthly payment formula that you can expect to use. So this is why part 2 really is a good follow-on to part 1 here. So things are going to change. The principal remains the same. How much you're borrowing is not going to change for part 2. If you remember part 1 with tuition, principal is what we kept changing around. Do I want to go to med school, 120 grand? Do I want to go to Kish, only 4 grand? For the sake of this, we're going to assume that you would buy the same house regardless of whether it was 15 or 20, or 30. Rate is going to change. So remember, for a 15-year mortgage, my rate was 3.618%. So as a decimal, that's 0.03618. And then for the 30-year mortgage, it was 0.04193. So your rates are going to be different between 15 and 30-year mortgage. Your time, which I guess I'll stick with green, will also be different. For a 15-year mortgage, time is 15. For a 30-year mortgage, time is 30. So keep that in mind, that there's more variables you need to change when we're looking at mortgage math as opposed to tuition math. However, finding your 2 monthly payments is just like tuition math. In fact, I've already done it. Let's go ahead and turn on SmartInk and get a highlighter in here. All right. So note that what I changed, I've got my interest rates for 15, and that's different than my interest rates for 30. The other thing that I changed, time. Time is 30 for the 30-year loan and 15 for the 15-year loan. Nothing else changes. Principal stays the same. You still get like the -1s in there. The formula itself doesn't change, but the rates and the times will. So if you're having trouble with the formula, let me know. But one thing that's very clear, one of these numbers is way bigger than the other. So what you'll find is that your 30-year mortgage is way less than your 15-year mortgage. And this is where people get into trouble, because you'll be shown both of these numbers, and most people are going to pick that 605 over the 893. They're going to go, holy cow, that's almost $300 in savings. Here's the rub. When we actually look at those two numbers, let's go ahead and rewrite them. 893, 66, 605, 87. The 15-year loan at first glance looks way more expensive, but the total number of payments is times 12, because that's $893 a month, times 15, which is $180. You're only making 180 total payments. So $893.66 times 180 is $160,858.80. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. But if you compare that to the 30-year loan, now it's 12 months in a year times 30, which is 360 total payments. When you actually run those numbers, you wind up with 218,113.20. So think about the difference between those two dollar amounts. $160,000 versus nearly $220,000. You have to pay interest with both of these, but the amount of interest you pay is significantly higher on that 30-year loan, even though the monthly dollar amount is less. So to actually find the amount of interest, you could subtract our principal. Remember, our principal for this loan was $124,000. You could subtract $124,000 from each to actually get the right amount of interest you're paying. Very large numbers we're talking about here. You're effectively paying for a second house if you buy an expensive enough house. Some people's interest is even more than the actual cost of the principal for the house. So things to be aware of. There is a follow-up to this part of the project. We do want you thinking about which kind of mortgage would be right. There are times when a 30-year mortgage does make more sense. So if you have a compelling argument for why you want the 30-year mortgage, hey, I'm all ears. The last page of this is to have you actually change those interest rates around, take a look at other possible interest rates using the bank rate calculator, so a little bit less work as far as you doing things in your calculator, and more just experimenting with rates and seeing what kinds of things that you notice, and that's the last part of this project. So hopefully you're having a good week. I'll see you soon. Make sure to raise your hand if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feelings, or just want to share some food.